to another exciting episode of the Andre The Beast Crayton Show with my co-host, the beautiful, the one, the only, Branthopist herself, Yolanda M. Smith.
What's up, Dre?
What's up? What's up?
Let's keep it going.
Well, yeah, let's keep it going. Today is a beautiful show. We're going to talk with Angela
Noury.
I
love it. That beautiful name.
Beautiful name, beautiful story, but not only beautiful story, she's going to come on this show and tell us about her journey. I call this episode Saving Angela Noury. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
So, Anne, let's get right down to it. Tell us a little bit about Angela Noury.
All right, well, to start, my name is Angela Noury. I'm from Providence, Rhode Island. I've lived in Rhode Island my whole life. I own a business here now. I own a private training facility where I do one-on-one clients and meal plans and online coaching and whatnot. I've been in the fitness industry, like working in it since I was 19 and I'm 38, so a long time, almost 20 years. Before that, I mean, just bodybuilding in general has been such a huge part of my life. So, I mean, between training and working and competing, that's pretty much what I do in every aspect of my life. My whole world revolves around working out and people and my friends and my family, basically. So,
Tell me a little bit about, we shared a little bit about your story with your family. What actually led you down the path to bodybuilding?
well, originally I started off I was just always a very athletic child, and I was very, I guess, energized. So, like, if there was a tree that I could climb, I'd be climbing it. If there was a sport I could play, I would be playing it. I never wanted to be inside. I was always outside. I just like loved being active. I always say that I was raised on Rocky, meaning the movie. So growing up, I used to watch that all the time, and I thought that everyone should look like Sylvester Stallone in Rocky 3. That was just my opinion of it, and I thought it was awesome what he used to do, the training. I was just like obsessed with it. So I started working out at home when I was 11 years old, and then I joined a gym when I was 15, and then I started competing when I was 24. I think one of the reasons that I liked the gym so much, it was always more like, especially at first when I was younger. Now it's just like, it's my passion, it's everything to me. But starting off, not only did I just have that drive to be better, and I like to be the best, and I want to be the most athletic, I want to be the most in shape. Like, that's just always how my mentality has been. But it was actually also my escape.
Okay.
So the gym was always like my go-to if something bad happened. I'll give you an example. My dad died in 2017, and the day or the morning I got the phone call, as soon as I hung up, I put on my gym clothes. Because that's always my go-to. If something's bad, you go to the gym. If something's good, you go to the gym, because something about it just always makes me feel better. And then the other part that I like about it, especially the bodybuilding, like the competitive part about it, the structure of, like, you know exactly what you're doing at what time. So I like that because there's so much in this world, just in general, not just in my life, but in everyone's life, that you have no control over. And it can make you anxious. So that's the one thing that I can always have control over. I can control what I put into my mouth. I can control what I do at the gym. So that's part of the reason I love it so much.
So what are some of the things that perhaps you couldn't control that really kind of led down that path?
Great minds think alike.
So, I mean, just going to the gym was like something that I loved to do anyway. But when I was younger, teenager rather, I did not grow up with a lot of money at all. My family didn't really have much at all. So that was kind of like my activity. Like, we couldn't go on vacations or anything like that. So my outlet again was the gym. As I got a little bit older, I was telling Andre about this when we talked previous to the podcast, that my brother started to get he started to get sick when I was a late teenager, and he's 2 years older than me. So a lot of times I was using work and the gym as just a place to go to get away from my home life. it was starting to get, so my brother has schizophrenia, and we were very close growing up. As it got worse, things started to become violent and chaotic at home, so I just preferred to not be there. So if I was working like 3 jobs, and then on top of it going to the gym on also. So as little time as I could spend at home, that's what I was doing.
Angela, what part of that, you said your brother was diagnosed with schizophrenia, but at the age that you was, I'm pretty sure you didn't really know what schizophrenia is. What was your brother demonstrating in the household that now is labeled as schizophrenia that you guys was worried about?
So back then, so it's gotten progressively worse, because when someone has like mental illnesses like that, it can cause more damage the more time passes. So now it's a lot worse than it was back then. When we were younger, like I said, he's 2 years older than me. So I want to say, like, I started to notice a change when I was around 17 and he was around 19. He started drinking. That was part of it. And a lot of that has to do with self-medicating, people like trying to drown out whatever the problem is. So then my parents just thought it was due to that he was acting the way he was acting. So then he started to get in trouble with the law, breaking and entering to like different restaurants, like local restaurants. There was domestic violence between him and his girlfriend at the time, who happens to actually be my nephew's mother as well. So my brother's kid is 18 now. My mom adopted my nephew when he was 6 months old, because both of his parents, my brother's schizophrenia, I'm not sure what her diagnosis is, but she's in a mental hospital in Florida right now. So my mom basically adopted my nephew to save him from that kind of life. Because who knows, he might have been dead at this point. Who knows, you know? So anyway, so it started off with just him drinking a lot, and my parents just thought it was him becoming an alcoholic, because alcoholism's in my family too, so that wouldn't have been surprising if that's what it was. But for some reason, I knew it was something else. And I don't know if it was because we were so close growing up that, like, I could just feel, I remember saying to my mom, like, it's not just the alcohol, there's something wrong with him. And
what was he demonstrating?
So
Angela, what was he demonstrating outside of the alcohol that you brought to your mom's attention? That you said, this is not just the alcohol.
Well, I mean, like I said, the breaking and entering to different places and getting arrested, beating up his girlfriend. I mean, it was just nonstop. So, like, him getting into trouble. This is somebody who had never been in trouble his entire life. And
Gotcha.
now all of a sudden,
So
all
it was
this
a drastic
stuff started happening.
It was a drastic switch.
Yeah, exactly. It was like a night and day difference. And like because him and I were always close, like there was never usually anything negative towards me. But eventually that changed too, because I mean, someone who's sick like that, they have no control over what they do, and no matter how much they care about somebody at the time or whatever, they have no control over it. So that's why, like, there was definitely some altercations between him and I, but I had to eventually let that go, especially after he was diagnosed, because it's like, how can you be mad at somebody that's sick? You know, all you can do is protect yourself and know, like, how close to keep him, basically. Like, I would put myself.
You said that it changed and reverted to you. Explain a little bit more. What do you mean by that? Like, what was he demonstrating towards you now?
So the same kind of behavior, like more violent behavior. Here's an example. I can't remember what started the fight or what triggered this. This was so long ago now. I'm 38. This was all happening now when I was like 19. So like, and then I'm sure a lot of it I probably even blocked out. Who knows, you know?
Yeah.
But I remember one Christmas Eve, we were at my uncle's house, and my brother and one of my uncles got into basically a fist fight in the living room. So it was already like high tensions. My family had to break it up. I lived with my brother at my father's house at the time. So after all that had happened, we had ended up back at our house, and it was just him and I there. My father wasn't home. It was just me and my brother there. My brother had gotten into a fight with my boyfriend at the time, and then my boyfriend had taken off. And because that aggravation had already happened, then he turned it around on me. He basically threw me up against a wall. He went into his bedroom to get a baseball bat, so then I had to lock myself in the bathroom. While I was locked in the bathroom, I was listening to him because I couldn't stay in there. I knew I had to get out of there. So I was listening for his footsteps like throughout the house to see if it had if he was far enough away for me to get out one of the doors. So that's what I did. So as soon as he was far enough where I knew I could get out, I ran out of the bathroom and ran down the street and called the cops on him, basically. But by the time the cops came, my brother had taken off so he wouldn't get arrested.
Yeah.
So that was just one of the examples.
Yeah. So when you think about it, it sounds like to me that you've taken a lot of the challenges and maybe traumas in your life, and then just pushed all that into your bodybuilding, your working out, your exercising, and things like that. So I'm assuming they say exercise is good for you. I mean, and it lowers stress. So I mean, was
so, yes, it does.
I mean, that's what they say.
Yeah. It's true. That's why I always tell. I even tell my clients to this day. I'm like, if I didn't have working out, I'd be insane.
Yeah.
Just because like that's always been like it's completely it has saved me. Like it's everything to me. And I think now like not that I would ever want to be taken out of working out, but I'm in a much better place, like just in general overall. So it's like it means just as much to me, but it's different now. It was saving me before. Now if I had to like say I had to take like 2 months off, I would hate it, but it wouldn't make me crazy.
Yeah.
Or it would make me crazy, but just not to the level that it would have if I was younger.
Because you weren't escaping. You're not escaping something.
I'm not
now.
escaping anything now. Now I'm comfortable where I am.
Gotcha.
So.
Gotcha.
What's the situation like with your brother now? You share with me that you still, despite his illness, he's your brother. You still have a passion for him. What's that situation like with your brother now? You found your journey, which we'll get back to the bodybuilding aspect, but how do you save your brother? We saved you, which we'll get into, but how do you save your brother? He's still your brother.
Yeah. This is something that I have thought about since it all started 20 years ago. And there was definitely a point that I was just so angry about the whole situation that I didn't care at all. But once I decided that I needed to forgive him because he had no control over it, that's when I was thinking of different ways to try to help him. But the legal system or whatever's in control over who helps these kinds of people, at least in this state, it's a joke. Like there is no helping anybody. There's so many homeless people, and I guarantee you, like 90% of them have a mental illness, and that's why they're in that position that they're in. Despite what I've been through or what I witnessed, I'm not mentally ill. Like I'm not sick, so I can handle stuff in a much different capacity than someone like my brother. It's two totally different animals.
What?
So I witnessed my mom, because my mom obviously will always try to help him. That's her son, so she's always going to try to help him. So she's gone through, I feel like he's gone through hell trying to get him help. And between social workers and group homes, and he was getting in trouble with the law a lot, which I had mentioned. But then once he got diagnosed with schizophrenia, now if he gets in trouble, he has to go to a mental hospital. He doesn't go to jail, because you can't put somebody with schizophrenia in jail, obviously. So as far as how he is now is, so he's been homeless since last summer. He got evicted from the place that he was in, just from not following the rules of the place. The apartment or wherever he was staying is a place for people like that. Like it's apartment, but it's like everyone there has something going on. But he couldn't even withhold the rules of that place. So he eventually got evicted. So he was living on the street last summer. Then the winter started to come, and me and my mom were like, well, we can't let him freeze to death. Now, mind you, I can't take him in here. He's a dangerous person. He doesn't take medication. He drank. He's violent. You can't trust him. So it's not like I can't take him in here. Mm-hmm. My mom has my nephew. She can't take him in. My father died. So he's on the street.
Where does he go? Yeah, where does he go? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So over the winter, as the colder months came, I actually bought him a van, like one of those utility vans, just so he would have a place to sleep and not get snowed on, get rained on, and not freeze to death, basically. Mm-hmm. So we just kept on moving because he doesn't have a license, obviously. So we just kept on moving it from parking lot to parking lot, trying to like find a place for him to stay. But then he kept getting in trouble in the plazas too, like stealing from the store. That it's just a disaster, you know. Like, and my mom can only do so much too.
And he won't take his
So
meds, is what I'm. You said he won't. He's not on his meds.
so he has to go into whatever the program is that he's involved in. He has to go in so often, and they administer the drugs to him. But the ones that he's supposed to take every day, he doesn't do on his own, obviously.
Gotcha.
And then when you drink alcohol on top of it, it cancels out any kind of medication that you're taking anyway.
Gotcha.
So
You mentioned a son. He has a son.
yeah,
What's that? How do you deal with the son issue? His son. He sees what's going on with his dad. I'm pretty sure, right?
well, so my mom is raising him, and my mom doesn't. She's not going to like keep on putting him in that situation. Why would she do that to my nephew?
Yeah.
Like, my nephew knows the whole story, but he doesn't need to be like, if my mom is going to bring my brother food on the side of the street, my nephew doesn't need to see that.
Yeah.
He understands what's happening, but like he doesn't.
Your mom
So
sounds
he's
pretty
separate.
remarkable.
I'm sorry?
I said your mom sounds pretty remarkable.
My mom's amazing. My mom has been, oh my God, she has been helping people that she doesn't have to help my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
And this is her son, so you can only imagine how much more it would be for that. But yeah, so she adopted my nephew when he was 6 months old. My nephew, like I said, my nephew knows the story. He knows all the characters. He knows everyone's role. He knows how he's related to everybody. He still looks at me as like his sister, though, because we both call my mom.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so like he said, he's never called me Auntie Angela,
Right.
ever. Like, he calls me Angela. That's my little brother, and
Right.
like legally he technically is, because my mom adopted him, so that is my brother.
Yeah.
Sounds like this has been a never-ending story with trying to save you, trying to save your brother. What about the system there? How do you feel about the system? You had to reach out to him. I mean, is it really that bad where you live at that they would allow this to even take place?
Oh, well, yeah, they allow it, and they don't care. And like, I don't have to deal directly with these people. My mom handles all that, but I have to hear about it from her. And my mom has tried everything.
Yeah.
Has had very little luck. Recently she switched over. There's a couple different like places here that help people like that. One of them, she just switched over from them to somebody else, and she said they seem to be like a little bit better as far as like trying to get him off the street, trying to get him like a place to live and whatnot. The latest that I know is that he's set up to go into some sort of group home semi soon, which is good because before we know it, the cold weather will be here again. He's going to need a place to go. So now he's been homeless for almost a year, or actually has been homeless for a year now.
Yeah. You know, systemically, that's a problem across the nation. I mean, that
exactly.
When they started closing a lot of the mental health facilities, I mean, it really put people in a pickle. And it's sort of that catch-22, because you said something that was profound. He didn't follow the rules. And if you don't follow the rules, they put you out. And most of the people that are homeless have had an opportunity to be somewhere, but they don't want to follow those rules.
How do you follow the rules if you have this issue?
Well, but it's hard. But if there's no place to literally put you, you know, back in the day we had mental health hospitals that were really designed for longer term care.
Right.
Now they're short, acute sort of hospitals where you can go in and you can be there 30 days or less, and they put you back out on the street. I mean, I think that's kind of how it goes. I mean, that's just been the experience.
That's exactly how it happens.
Yeah. So the longer care facilities no longer exist. So it's going to really take somebody to understand at some point that, and it's been decades now since those have kind of been pulled out. So that's why the homelessness has increased so much in the United States, you know. And so let's get back to you, though. When we kind of think about you, and he titled this Saving Angela. What are we saving? What are we saving you from?
Well, I don't feel like there's anything that I need to save from now.
Yeah, exactly.
I had told Andre previous to that one of my escapes when I was younger, and I was still in the situation, like living in the same house as my brother, and I was living with my father at the time, so it was us three that were living there. I started dating someone who was a lot older than me. I was like, at the time I was 21 and he was 38. But he was just not a good human being, like very controlling, very mentally abusive, and it became physically abusive. Where it finally ended when he broke my nose, and then I broke up with him, and I never looked back, and I didn't have like the battered woman syndrome, like you put your hands on me like that, then it's over. But that being said, like I put up with a lot of mental abuse leading up to those points that I wouldn't have if I had a home that I felt safe in. I was basically picking between two poisons. It's like, what's worse?
Gotcha.
It's here or here. I'm 21 years old. I can't like live on my. I wasn't making enough money to live by myself. Like I said, my family never had money. I couldn't go to college. Like it's amazing that I have a business right now. It's because I've been a hard worker my entire life. Like I used to work in the movie theater, and in my head, because like I said, I'm competitive. I like to be the best. I was like, I'm going to be the best at this job. So I was the best at that job. I ended up eventually becoming a manager at that job, which led me to be able to become a manager of a gym, which made me eventually be the regional manager of corporate gyms around here. And I never had to go to college. I never had to pay back student loans. I was making the same amount of money that someone who goes to college makes because I worked my ass off. And so there's just different positions different things that I put up with because my home life was not safe. So I was doing whatever I could to get out of that. Once that incident happened with my ex, I didn't want to go back home because then I'm dealing with another violent situation, right? So I, fortunately, and still to this day, like, I actually think about this all the time, and I try not to because I know it's not my fault, but I can't even explain to you how guilty I feel that I have the life that I have, and my brother's living the life that he lives. It's like, I can't even believe it. Like, I love my life. My life is amazing now. And, like, even all the crap that happened before that got me to here, it's all part of it, right? Everyone's had stuff happen to them. So, like, everything has led me to right now, and I love who I've become, and I love the people in my life, and I love my business, and the fact that I can do all these things that, like, most people, not even, like, people who have been in my position before, they don't even do. Like, I feel like I do so much. And I love every second of it. And I have so many great people in my life. Meanwhile, my brother's homeless on the street and has nobody. Yeah. Like, how can two people that grew up the exact same way have such different lives? And like I said, I try not to because I know it's not my fault, but I feel guilty about that.
Yeah. I can imagine.
I can't, like, it doesn't seem fair.
Yeah.
Like, how did I get all this? Like, even, like, turning pro as a bodybuilder. Like, you're telling me my brother doesn't even have the genetics to not have a mental illness. I have the genetics to become a pro bodybuilder. Like, that's mind-blowing to me. We grew up the same.
Yeah, I guess we all have a destiny and things are just different. But you know what I'm hearing is that you're exhibiting that beast mode for sure. I mean, because you could have internalized it very differently. You could have went a different path and you would be sitting here with a very different outcome. So kudos to you. So I'd be curious, what would you say to someone that may be struggling right now, really going through some challenges and really just feeling hopeless? What would you say to be able to encourage them? Because I mean, seriously, it was there in your face and you made a change and a difference for your life. What would you say to them?
Oh God. Well, it probably would also depend on like whatever their scenario is. But I think that one of the main things, and it's hard to, I get that, but like you can't get into like that mindset where everything is negative. I'll give you an example. Like I used to always think that I had bad luck, and I used to say that all the time. That I just have bad luck, and I never I was never like a negative person, but I had that attitude, like I have bad luck, right? Once I stopped believing that, like I feel like everything changed. Amen. So the problem is when something bad happens to people, they spiral. and it keeps on coming. You know what I mean? Because now they're in that headspace. But if they don't let that first thing like take them into a negative route, if they stay positive, they're not going to have all that the rest of the stuff that follows because everything spirals, whether it's positive or negative.
You are so powerful. There's power in the tongue, sister. Power in the tongue, and you have to manifest the life you want. I truly believe that.
Exactly.
So,
that is so true.
Yes.
What you think, it'll come.
Yes.
And that's why, like now, I love my life. That is true. But because I feel that, more and more good just keeps on coming.
Yes.
And that's amazing. But that's hard to teach somebody, you know? But, like, I think it's people see that it does happen. Like me, I have no problem telling my story, you know? So, like, they see, like, I started there. I could have went, my life could have gone the complete opposite direction as this. You know,
Definitely.
So, yeah, it's all your mindset.
So you seem 100%. To have you seem to took all of that and rechanneled it, and not only saving yourself. When I say saving Angela, I mean saving that mind. Not letting your mind take you to places that they need to go. What's the next step for you? You're a professional bodybuilder now. You came to grips with the situation with your brother. What's next for you?
Well, I'm gonna continue with my business and whatnot. I'm gonna continue competing, and hopefully, actually, my whole thing with competing is like, it's not to me like, if I don't win a show, that like, I get to compete as a pro against the best in the world. That's amazing to me. But I want to impact the sport so people remember me. Whether that means I come in first place or last place at a show. Because I'm a pro anyway, so like I get to compete at the top level, so I'm cool with that, you know. But I want people to remember me, so that's my biggest thing as far as like competing goes. And then obviously with competing, like there's a bunch of different avenues that can take you. Mm-hmm. So I'm just gonna kind of like go with the flow and see what happens and do what I need to do as far as that goes, and the opportunity to rise and something I'm interested in, I'll go with it. I like business. So, yes, I have my business, but I was thinking about maybe starting another business, not in the same field. A couple of ideas up in the air. I actually want to start a YouTube channel too, but I actually don't want to make it about bodybuilding. I actually want to make it about, like, not like this, like the beast attitude, but just about, because I love people. Like, people fascinate me. So that's part of the reason I love my job. Because then I like when people can open up to me. So part of the thing I want to do for my podcast is talk about like relationships is going to be like the main topic about it. So like different experiences that people have and like why they think that happened. I analyze everything. And my brain doesn't stop. It's always analyzing. So I need.
What are you analyzing now? What are you analyzing now? Because I can tell your brain's moving.
Oh, it's always, my brain, it just does this. It like, what's crazy is that like, if something happens in my life, I already knew that it was going to happen because I already like was figuring it out along the way.
Okay.
It's so wild. My brain, yeah. So nothing like ever really like shocks me, and that's probably part of the reason I can stay positive.
Yes.
Okay.
Because nothing has ever blindsided me. You know, like, it's like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. But it only makes sense because I took the time to, like, try to figure out why this person is doing what they're doing. Mm-hmm. Because they were able to open up to me and I was able to get information out of them, which I like. Like, when I'm getting information, it's not because I'm judging them. I, like, am interested in them. I'm interested in what makes them who they are. So that's what I want my podcast to be. So that's, anyway, that's part of my future plan.
This is going to be good stuff. Yeah, I look forward to watching that journey.
So, yeah, right? I'll have you on. You'll be my guest.
Before we wrap up, how can the viewers reach out to you, visit your gym, and contact you in general?
Well, they can go just through my Instagram is fine. So that's Angela Noury _IFBB Pro. So they can just message me there, and then there's actually a link to my studio in my bio on Instagram. So
okay, say that one more time. The Instagram.
The Instagram, so it's Angela Noury _IFBB Pro.
Okay, IFB Pro.
Angela, thank you so much for coming on the show, sharing your story. I pray for your brother. I pray for your family that you guys
Thank
can
you.
overcome. Definitely, we need to bring a lot of awareness to mental illness. And I'm blessed that you was able to come and share that impactful
Yes.
story about you and your brother, and how you was able to save your mind and become a pro bodybuilder and still be supportive of not only your brother but your family but the world. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another exciting episode of the Andre the Beast
Crayton.